Gonna take another look at the core rush here as Zealots just make a very decisive play. They move in and they get aggressive against the playing Ducks, and they are currently up 2-0 over their opponents. I cannot believe it. I think a lot of people were not expecting it. So here we go, the last few minutes.
Yeah, just look at this fight. So they go over through the keep already early, and then they more or less immediately start focusing on the core. They get the quick cocoon in, and they just don't hesitate. There comes a quick heal onto the Greymane. It's just so much pressure. Double Greymane, the Sonya, and the boss. So many elements that dish massive amounts of hit points off the core. It was just absolutely fantastic. Great coordination. They just saw an opportunity, they ran with it, and they didn't even try to fight. They just said, hey, we have 2 Greymanes, we have a Sonya, there's a boss pushing as well. As long as the Ray guy hits his Ancestral, we're going to be golden.
And it was important for them to also spread out there, too. They had everyone at a different location, so Odin just didn't get as much value in helping clear them up, and they were able to secure the victory. Now, we're going to game number 3 with a thought actually going through our brains right now. Can the Zealots beat the playing Ducks 3-0? And if you ask me, I think I'm a believer.
At this point, I am too, because I currently think about what the playing Ducks must feel at this point. They go into this, they get Eternal, they're like, we are stronger than ever. We are in a great spot right now. Of course, we still have a lot of room to improve, but we feel solid. Then you go up against a team that just made it into the league through the Crucible, and you're like, yeah, this is a good start for us into the season. It's a bit of a warm-up victory. Now you're 0-2, and you're like, boys, what's happening here?
Well, it's time to figure out if they can handle it. We're going to our third battleground. Where are we going exactly? It's going to be Infernal Shrines. And this is a new lighting, right? I'm excited.
I think this is a new lighting.
I get so pumped for this part. Josh, lay it on us.
Bring it, Josh. Bring it.
Give it to us. Let's see it, Josh.
I'm ready.
Josh? Did he do it?
No. I don't see anything. Oh, there we go.
Oh.
All right. I like it.
Okay. All right.
Isn't that Sky Temple?
It's Sky Temple. It's a little Sky Temple-ish. I need a little more pink. Just a little more pink.
So I'm being told that it's slightly different. I don't see it. Do you see it?
It's a little similar. We'll talk after the show,
yeah,
Josh.
Because we have
we're a little disappointed in you. You know, we need a little bit more. I think
we're not mad. We're not mad.
Just disappointed. That's the thing. I actually wouldn't mind seeing, you know, a blue Punisher, a little purple Punisher, and then a red one. How cool would that be? Man,
just ask Trixler. He knows what's up.
I got you, man. No big deal. All right, Infernal Shrines. Game number 3 on the line here for the playing Ducks, and they got to start their comeback. Yeah,
they definitely have to. So they always banned Vala in the last few games, and they continue with this. I'm actually really interested in why that is.
I mean, in the Crucible, we saw a lot of Vala.
Don't get me wrong, Vala is strong, but I just feel that the Ducks themselves are also able to play her. So I'm not quite sure why they are constantly just banning her away. Maybe they analyze Zealots and are saying, okay, this is too important to them. I get more so why Medivh is being banned, just because you don't want to allow Sport Billy to make the plays and the setup potential is too strong. But now we have, again, the same MO that we had in the last few games. We have an Uther first pick for the playing Ducks, and the Zealots react with Greymane and a Nubarak.
Yeah.
It's basically every time a Nubarak plus X, and that X usually is either an Abathur or Greymane.
Greymane being picked up here. For those that are wondering why you would get Greymane over maybe the Genji or such, Greymane gives you a little bit more control over the shrine, so this is more of a map-specific pick. You're going to be able to make sure that you can clear it out. That Cocktail Bill in particular is wonderful for clearing out those shrines, but also for getting free damage on the opposing team if they're trying to contest.
So, double picks for the Ducks. Let's see what direction they go this time. Are we going to see the same plays? Last time they had a high priority on Genji, so if they follow the same trend, they could do that. But as you said, the map caters a little bit different, so they have to really ask themselves, is that concept working for us? Because so far, I just don't really see it.
Is Sport Billy limited in hero pool where you have to get the Genji anyways? It's usually the Haka Genji they pick up.
No, I don't really think so. I mean, we've seen him on 4 or 5 core heroes last season, but they take the Sonya this time. This is actually something that I was expecting for the second ban.
Yeah.
That they say, okay, we have played against that Sonya twice now, and twice we got destroyed in a lot of these fights by just the sustain and the slams there, so they are going down a different path right now. I like that. The one question that I still have is there a chance that the Zealots are trying to run this with an Illidan?
It's a possibility. We could see it here. For bans, I wouldn't mind a Li Ming ban here. Because I could see a roster here where playing Ducks go into Tychus and Li Ming, which could be good for burning down the Anubrek and also gives them control on the Shrine. And it would be wonderful with that front line.
Gul'dan is another hero
True.
that could be really strong. I mean, Chris and Gul'dan is a thing. So if you get that out of the way, that's a lot of wave clear that you have, a lot of Shrine control that also exists. But they're more afraid of the Genji. That would make it a very melee-heavy setup for the Ducks. I mean, Genji technically not quite a melee. But let's see.
He's a robot.
He's a robot. Okay, so looking at the Leoric here, you know, I'm excited to see what hero Shed plays, because so far for me he has been the X factor.
Yeah, he's been making a lot of plays in both the Tassadar and then also the Abathur. The Abathur, I love seeing rotations on Abathurs where they don't mind body sucking. If they know they have a 15 to 20 second window and they actually move into a lane, I'm like, yes, good job, Abathur. A lot of people are afraid to do that, but Shad realizing, hey, brush talk happened, I'm moving in. Gotta love it.
Shad is great on these heroes. He is absolutely, he's really, really solid. And yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing his Vikings again at some point. So we have a completely different setup right now for the Zealots. They are this time the ones that are taking the Tychus. So Tychus taking over by them. They have a Malfurion tool, Grandpa on a different hero here. And let's see how the Ducks are gonna finish out that draft. We need range damage. That's definitely a given. So we've been talking about the potential of having a Gul'dan here, maybe Li Ming going into one of the mages here. It's definitely a lot of potential for that. But the Tychus is taken away from them. That's a good sieging tool on this map. So overall, I actually like the damage output that the Zealots have.
Is this a time that we see something a little bit different from Sport Billy, though? Usually in the past, it moves into Zarya. Zarya's a little bit on the older side. I'm trying to think of all of his rotations. Falstat's still available as a possible pickup. Because Arth is going to be Nande. Sonya, I'm assuming, is a Thurnal. Cassia and Tassadar.
That is very melee heavy what we're seeing here.
Very different also, though, for the playing Ducks.
One of the reasons why Leoric was banned out, I was already wondering about this a bit and was saying, okay, they probably don't want the top lane to be too strong. At the same time, he gives the wave clear. But if you look what they are running, ban on Leoric makes a lot of sense. Since he with the Entomb can do so much, the Skeleton Swing alone, the Drains as well. So very interesting that the Ducks are this heavily committed now to such a melee-heavy composition. A single range hero in the entire setup.
And it's almost not a range hero. Cassio, with the smallest range possible, has to walk up forward and get burned down possibly. But you're right, an Entomb into an Impale would have been deadly here for Cassia. Taking away from her trait, she could have been burned away. So the playing Ducks putting all on the line here for an aggressive play. They need to win the Shrine phase, it feels like. I feel like their defense on Shrine would be a little bit difficult to pull off. Stitches is the final pickup for the Zealots.
Yeah, I've been thinking about what they could possibly send at that front line that would help them here. And I mean, there's a few things they could have done if they didn't already have both of their damage dealers. Or with Stitches taken, what else could they really have gone for? I mean, I still feel that I'm missing out on a tank or two in my head. I don't think that you would go for the Diablo here necessarily. We still have the Muradin, but he doesn't give you the same wave clear. So I think overall,
would get bodied. That wouldn't work. Chen would get shut down pretty effectively.
Yeah,
I know you did, but I did.
That isn't even registered with me.
That's what I'm here for.
It's actually funny because right behind you there's a tennis panel. So
as he should be, standing tall as he leads us to victory during our cast.
Yeah.
So let's play the Who Wins Draft game again for the third time. Can Caldor score 3 points? Zealots versus the playing Ducks. Who gets the victory?
I believe in the Zealots at this point.
You believe in them?
Yeah, after the last 2 games, it looked really solid, and I believe that there must be a lot of nerves for the Ducks right now. Coming into this, I would have said, okay, Ducks all the way. They take this. But right now, the Zealots are really impressing me with how they're handling these curveballs.
I think I believe in the Ducks here on my side. I look at this draft and I see really hard targets for Stitches to connect with. Arthas, Sonya, and Uther. If you connect any of those, it's actually not very good for your team overall unless you're pretty far away. And Cassia is kind of hard to hit. And if you do hit Tassadar, Dimensional Shift, and they walk away.
You know, that's the thing. I feel like with the comp that they have right now, that Stitches is not going to be having a focus on hooks.
Yeah.
If you get the hook, hey, awesome. But I feel on 16, he's not even going to go into fishing hook. We're going to see Pulverize here. This is just having someone at the front line who's, first of all, really tanky, has a lot of hit points, has his Devour so he can self-sustain himself, and gets the damage out with the Slam. I think that's more the thought process that they have. If I would believe that this is a comp where they are saying we need the hooks, I would also say the Ducks have it. But I think this is going to be a bit of a different playstyle.
Yeah, contest Shrines there with that Slam build. All right, guys, let's get started here. Game number 3, Infernal Shrines. Can the Zealots close it out, or will the Playing Ducks start to mount their comeback?
That's what we're going to find out in the third game. To the left side, we have them once again. The Playing Ducks with Wolfjaw on Uther, Chris on Cassia, Eternal on the Sonya here, Sport Billy on Tacita, and Nande on Arthas, as we have the double support Sonya Tacita comp. So a lot of sustain and pressure from the melees.
To the right, in the red, it will be the Zealots here. As they continue to move forward, Zarmany will start playing the Stitches there, actually. It looks like Poyak will be on the Greymane, Mopsio will be on a Nubrak, Malfurion being played by Grandpa, and Tychus will be on Shat.
So Mopsio at this point is playing the Anubrak, and it's actually interesting to see that we're having at this point good old Stitches played by Zarmany. In my head, he's usually playing the heroes that are a bit more mobile, a little bit more aggressive, and try to go into the backline. But I'm actually really excited for this one, because it's a very different setup from what we had on the last 2 maps. But yeah, I'm curious to see if this is going to be a 3-0. But I think the Ducks, they are going into this and saying, okay, boys, we got this.
Zealot step forward here. Wolfjaw with the stun. Here's a root setup, as Nande will be the one hooked into it, and our team will start to spread out. Oddly enough, it'll be Stitches versus Sonya in the top lane, but I guess when you look at the composition, not one you really want to spread anyone out. Maybe Tychus could be okay up there, but still, 4-man bottom here, turn around for the dimensional shift Tassadar, and he will get away.
All right, so for now, Shat already there in position, the rotation, so them are looking good. They're actually even setting up a bit of a trap towards the left. And the Zealots are simply taking another wave down at the bot lane. I mean, there's nothing too crazy just happening yet. I think Eternal is going to have a very easy time against Zarmany at the top, maybe to an extent where someone has to be sent up top lane. And it's not really a solo lane where they're going to have a great time, but overall, if they can just focus on the Shrine afterwards, they should be okay.
We'll see if they can focus down that Shrine. We've got some time until we actually get there. It's all about getting to level 4 for our teams before that occurs. Cassia with the charge strikes here will be the main damage dealer for the Playing Ducks. They move forward and they start applying that damage, but I love how immediately when the Zealots saw that, they just spread out. Some teams kind of stay together and take too much damage there to give that value away. Disengage and come back in.
Yeah, this is one of the things. Also, what I feel is that when it comes to the team fights, okay, there's exactly the rotation I was talking about, that is kind of forced out of Sonya winning that lane heavily. But what I feel is that after we have level 4, just through the entire game, the coordination between Tychus going for a target and Greymane trying to finish it has to be on point. And if they burst down one of the frontliners with this help, then I think they can make a lot work here. So for Zealots, it's again about coordination. The same is, of course, true for the Playing Ducks, but they are very much, if they go in, they are in. Disengage is not really in the vocabulary if you're running this comp, I feel.
Sports Billy coming in on the side here, keeping Grandpa on the back side, but not really doing too much with that Tickle Beam. The lead here is great for the Playing Ducks as they have a 20-12. Hook comes out, will connect with Eternal, but he easily walks away.
Yeah, there's the root on the ground. Nande already low. A few talent choices also quite interesting, but let's focus on this one first. Still a bit of a lead on the side of the Ducks when it comes to the minions, but position has been taken by now on the Shrine by the Zealots.
Yeah, Eternal hoping to contest that though as he moves in on the right side, spinning in and getting damage there on Mopsio and crew. Burrow-Charge comes out, we'll connect with Eternal, there's the root, and they're fighting back. It's 35-30.
Yeah, they should get this one though. So they are able to get it. Hook does miss. But the one thing that surprised me a little bit is Kala's Embrace on 4 with this setup. Because I feel that if you are Cassia, you will benefit from it a lot. But the rest of the team, not so much. And I think that what we are seeing here on the side of the Zealots with the burst down with the bigger they are and Greymane jumping in, you probably get more out of Kala's life for the additional armor. So I'm not quite sure on that just yet. I think it's great if you get the damage out, but I think the only real target that benefits from the shield and from the talent is going to be Cassia.
Yeah, but he put it all on Cassia here. She can deliver if she has that 90% life steal. It's pretty insane in terms of those auto attacks, so we'll see if it pays off for the Ducks. I think I agree with you. If you wanted some shield for that armor, you'd be fine, but you already have Uther to a degree, so they might be okay in that regard.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think Uther is a pretty good point to make, but I'm just a bit afraid that if a target is being focused with potential cursed bullet play and just the bigger they are, that you are having a rough time keeping those alive. Because we could already see in that last fight that we had there that Arthas was struggling, especially after the Root of Malfurion came down. Once you have that locked in place, getting away from that is a little bit tricky. So after 10, I'm a little bit worried about this, and already the game is... I mean, I don't want to say it snowballs, we're far from that, but at least you get a bit of an early lead thanks to the first Punisher, and now they can just move back, take camp. So overall, I think it's a pretty solid start for the Zealots.
Yeah, pretty solid start. I mean, they were even behind on the first initial shrine, which feels like they are in a spot where they're going to lose it anyways. When you have Sonya and Arthas dictating a fight around the shrine, typically you feel like you've already lost. Sonya's spinning there, Arthas in the front line bodyguarding, but Zealots didn't mind moving forward and breaking through. I think after 10, when Wrath comes online and Army of the Dead, maybe Arthas and Sonya will be in a spot where they're good enough that they don't need those shields and they can just rely on the Uther. But until then, until 10 actually hits, the second shrine phase might be a bit of a pain for the Ducks.
One of the things that just is in my head is, you know, once they have the 10, they all go in and you are taking position. All of a sudden, you have Stitches with a slam, and he is more or less guaranteed to hit 3 of you. So he's always going to get damage and value out of this. Then you have an Odin in the backline that just fires away the entire time, gets damage in that way. All of that added up is going to put you under a lot of pressure, and they just can't afford to have that long-distance poke. They don't have that. So you need to either commit to the fight or you need to retreat. So it's a bit rough.
It's a bit rough. I'm trying to think of if Tassadar goes Archon here or even Force Wall.
That's a really good thought. I had the same thing. I would actually prefer the Force Wall.
Yeah.
I think if you're looking at what they have right now, yes, Tassadar's the only one in the backline who does the damage, but I think one of the best ways to win the fight is you take position at the shrine, and once the opponent starts to move in, you isolate them with a quick Force Wall, and then you drop on the target. I think I would like that probably a little bit more than them just saying, okay, we need more damage from that backline through the Arthas.
And charge strikes can get value there. You actually can drop it to the point where you're focusing on target. If the opposing team tries to walk in and help, suddenly they're taking extra damage. So even if you don't get the kill, it all really starts to kick into effect for Cassia. So could see that. On the right side, looking into Stitches, I think it's Bile no matter what. Nubra Cocoon, you have, do you go Curse Bullet here? Yeah, against Arthas, you go Curse Bullet no matter what. Twilight Dream, and then Odin. So I think our teams are pretty set up for level 10. I could see a world where the playing Ducks do get the fight then. That Force Wall will have to be the X factor.
You have to force it at some point, because if you get poked to death, then you're just in trouble. I mean, the double support is going to help you, but you effectively have only one real healer. The rest is just giving you the extra shields. So healing up damage that you just take through poking is still going to be a bit of an issue. But overall, the Ducks, if they play it right and they get a good team fight here, if they, for example, think about the Bad Benny flanks that we had in our first series here today. If you set something like that up and you have the Arthas coming in from behind and all of a sudden everybody just converges onto the Zealots, then this is going to spell trouble. So that is a bit of a risk that the Zealots are running here. It's all going to come down to position, I feel, more than anything else.
It is interesting to me to actually see the playing Ducks coming in and attempting to actually fight around the shrine. There was a while there on the first couple of shrines, they would never move in and engage. They would go for the split push. But obviously Cassia, not so good at the split push, especially with their losing that value on actually being able to do charge spikes on top of keeps. So it's cool to actually see them changing up their strategies into this composition to move in. So
one of the things that I felt was a little bit awkward at the start was just what we talked about with the Stitches taking the top lane against the Sonya. So that was one of these situations where you could see the Stitches needed help, but this is a map where the laning phase is extremely short, so it doesn't really make a big difference, especially since none of the teams is running in the Haka here that can just get that macro game in the side soak.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting maybe Tychus to head up there and actually deal with it. Tychus can win a couple of lanes in a 1v1 pretty well. He doesn't have the lifesteal that you normally would want to have in a lot of compositions, but he can actually just bully out a tank if needed. Like a Leoric versus Tychus is actually kind of scary for the Leoric if you get that level 4 up there pretty early. So it's interesting to see that.
Also, talking about scary, we've been talking about poke, and I think I haven't mentioned it yet, but it's just indicated we have the cocktail on the side of Greymane, and if that gets value, if you get full stacks for that thing, and then you can just poke away at the shrine, and you have the entire time just a couple of melees sitting there in range, that is starting to hurt fast.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, let's go ahead and look at the cocktail right now. He's going to be getting level 7 Riva soon, so he'll be able to start getting those moving in there. But on the second shrine phase, you can usually get a good 5 to 8 stacks, which is impressive. Because on a normal map, sometimes you don't even finish that off until maybe towards level 10, level 13, if you're fighting in normal team fights. So cocktail even gets more value, which is pretty awesome because it's considered one of the most dominant builds you can go for on that Greymane.
Yeah, and I mean, it gives you not only the damage poke against the opponent, but also you can once again win the objective here.
Yeah.
And that's what it is, I feel, all about. This is also where the Stitches then comes back into play. But I feel overall, it was really impressive to see just how this entire series started out up to this point, that we're all of a sudden talking about how the Ducks are having problems in these fights and not about how the Zealots need to somehow adjust their own play to a stronger opponent. It's exact opposite. But also the technical difficulties have been figured out, so we're going to jump into the game right away and continue with our third match and possibly the last one here on good old Infernal Shrines. So let's find out who's going to take it here.
Here we go. Now, just to upgrade you or let you guys know where we're at, we had a Punisher in the middle of the battleground, and then we moved into a situation where our teams were starting to move in to the Mercs. Now, there has yet to be a kill overall, and just kidding on the technical difficulty, it seems like another one may have arisen here, as we're going to be getting our teammates set up. A bit of a hotkey issue, apparently, when he reconnected with his audio. So we'll get that figured out, and we'll go back into it.
Yeah, right now, the one thing that really stands out to me a bit is that we have, at this point, a lot of kill. I see the kill pressure more so on the side of the Zealots. They have the opportunity to move in and try to get a target with the bigger they are and then get the kill there. Whereas for the opponent, it has to be a sustained fight, basically.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you say that, yeah, the kills are available for the opposing team, and I agree with that, but I look at the other team, and I'm like, God, they are hard to kill. If a Cursed Bullet misses out on an Arthas, he just like, okay, keeps moving forward here, and he eventually takes a fight. Cursed Bullet has to connect for those kills to be possible.
If that bullet doesn't hit, you have absolutely no chance of making a play there, especially against the Arthas.
Yeah.
Because they are super sustaining, so poking them down is not going to be easy. But that was the one thing that impressed me in the last few games, that every time we had a fight and they made a call, immediately the target was attacked by everybody. The bullet was there, the stuns hit afterwards, and then the rest of the damage was pushed in. And usually that resulted in a kill. We've seen Arthas a couple of times blown up so super fast. If they can just show the same level of coordination in this game that they did in the last two when it comes to these kills, then I think they have a very good shot at taking this.
And hopefully they can pull that off. Again, the lockdown may be a little bit harder to pull off here. I mean, you still have the Nubrak and Coon and that setup, but if a Citrus Hook doesn't quite connect and you put in the all-in idea of like, okay, a hook's coming out, here's a route, and you miss those two abilities, that's where the lineup might be a bit difficult. But what I was impressed with is we did see a lot, especially on Dragonshire, of Greymane using that Cursed Bullet whenever it was available and always connecting in some way. Let's go ahead and go into the game. It looks like everything is resolved, so fingers crossed. Let's go ahead and start up here for game number 3. And back to it here, we're in the bottom, and we're starting up the Mercenaries.
Stitches is still up at the top lane, trying to get a bit of experience. But basically what happened, as we said, we had one Punisher, won by the Zealots, and after that they immediately moved back and started to simply take mercenary camps. They're starting to paint the map red at this point, and the Ducks are trying to react the same way. So they're taking at least the ones to their side, but an earlier level 7 of the Zealot gives them a slight edge. It's nothing too crazy yet. We're still early on in the game, only 4 minutes 20 in. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens once we're going into Punisher number 2 and 3.
Yeah, and that should be happening relatively soon here. Hook comes out. It's going to be Sport Billy here. He's going to be using the Dimensional Shift. The Impale, wow, he barely sidesteps that. Well played.
That poke damage at the end nearly dropped him. First he's getting hit by the cocktail, and then the grenade comes in too. So yeah, that hit hard. Even having the 7 here for the increased range. So this is going to be a lot of damage in these situations. To be honest, I just want the next Punisher to spawn or the next Shrine because I want to see the team fight.
It should be here. I think in about the next 10 seconds we should see it spawning, if I remember correctly. So we're going to be having our Mercs being grabbed in the top right and the top left to start pushing in that lane. And the hope here is that the Punishers in the bottom's the ones who can grab it. There's the Shrine activating. We'll see it in the next 15 seconds in the very bottom. So now these Mercenaries, they go up in value.
And both of the teams are also straight going for the Mercenaries, not only one of them. So both of them are timing it properly so that the two will basically negate each other. But we already have Mopsio on the point, so a slight tiny lead that they should be able to get here. Nice, thanks to Greymane, they're able to get the first 10. Let's see how the Ducks are going to play this. Mopsio's a little bit, sorry, not Mopsio, but Zarmany's a little bit later on the rotation. Mopsio himself needs to get out, and he does. But now, here comes the constant poke from the outside, what we've been talking about earlier. And we're talking 22 to 7 minions.
Yeah, and that comes down to the cocktail. See, watch it here. It's actually, it could be used as it comes in. He's going to break it out, get a couple more, 28 to 10. The playing Ducks are holding down the fortification of the area. Ethereal steps forward and brings out some damage on Zarmany. And Zealots with their lead are slowly taking a few at a time, but the playing Ducks are on their way back. In fact, they're getting aggressive. They're pushing their opponents back.
That Greymane is just doing so much work here with a cocktail alone. This is absolutely crazy. 5 stacks on it only, but they get another easy Punisher thanks to that early lead in particular. And now they're trying to break through the wall. If they can just simply break the gate, once the Punisher jumps in for the stun, they can follow it up with Mopsio.
Mental chance will be used here for Smart Billy to get away. He baits it over, but the Punisher not fully as deep as they would like it. This allows the Zealots to continue moving forward, and they're now getting damage on top of that fort. And if this fort goes down, they're going to be incredibly close to level 10.
Stitches is at the top lane countering Sonya, but this is going to be level 10 after the tower falls. And they are looking solid here. So already Zarmani is going up against Eternal. This is basically saying, get out of here, especially since he still has to deal with the camp itself. But the rotation has started into the mid lane. Punisher is left alone at the bottom since he's already really low, down to 10%. So the towers are eventually going to deal with it.
I like that push, though. They let the Punisher push in the bottom to grab that tower, but they moved in the middle to force the playing Ducks to come in and respawn as well. The playing Ducks actually handled that very well. They put one member in the bottom to move in, but they also defend the pressure happening in the middle.
But they're really falling behind here.
They are. One level?
It's an entire level that they're behind. And this is a game where we haven't seen a kill yet.
Yeah.
This is all about the objectives, all about map rotations. Sonya going into the Wrath of the Berserker. We have nothing crazy with the talents here. Mopsio up at the front, Nanda at the side. Shat moves out. There's the force wall as expected. Odin being popped. Hook hits hard.
Wolfjo on the right side will be moving forward. Eternal's going to help keep him alive, but Shad continues to shell away. Mopsio on the left side still has Cocoon. They can move for an engage at any point the moment he's ready to use that.
Nanda actually going for the army. I'm actually very surprised.
Hook?
Oh my god, no way.
He gets it there. Divine Shield will have to be used here by Wolfjo. On the left side, though, Cocoon has been used. Wolfjo being focused, and he will be taken out. First kill of the game.
Trick, this is looking so bad for the Ducks now. I also couldn't believe that Arthur's actually committed to his ult. After Odin was popped, they could have simply moved away. I wouldn't even have fought there. I mean, what for? There's only a camp to be taken. You can move away from it. It's a big cooldown that gets burned. Why move into the choke point and use your own heroic ability and burn that down? They're losing another fort now. There's 2 camps already. 2 forts are down. And this is just looking better and better for the Zealots here. We're going to see the Roots potentially coming in. I don't think they can get an actual kill here.
Wow.
But they're pushing some extra damage in. Eternal with nice jukes. But this is... I'm a little bit afraid of the Ducks at this point. Still even talents. But if they lose this Punisher, that would be a disaster.
Well, there's still 30 seconds before we have the Divine Shield available, so the Ducks cannot move in until that is available and up. And that will allow the Zealots to start putting pressure on the top. However, a big rotation in the middle. Poik's low on health. Burrow Charge comes out. Can Poik live? No. He is picked off, and we're going to have the playing Ducks answer back finally with their own kill. Cocoon being used at the same time. Mopsio is being chased. He's going to be able to juke for a second. Can he get out? The heals come in, and he's going to be picked off.
Okay, now we're talking, though. The hook is hit. That's a big problem because Wolfjo might actually fall, but no, he gets the shield, and they are still safe. We have still Tychus on the point, on the other hand. Shat needs to get out there, but at least they were able to get a lead. And the death timers are still extremely low, so they can still make the play for the top. But the Ducks getting that double kill, that was exactly what they needed. And I can only say, finally, this is looking more what we expected here. So we're starting to have a bigger of a fight here.
Zarmani goes around for a hook. Cleanse comes out from Grandpa as Wolfjo tries to go in for the fight. And the Ducks are still sitting in the middle, which means they haven't got up here on the top. And you were talking about him coming in.
Sitting Ducks.
Yes. Totally meant to go for that Condor. I'm so proud you caught that. I love it because you're drinking tea and you're in the middle of like, oh, I gotta put my tea down to call this out.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, the Zealots, they are in a good spot.
The Punisher.
They're going to grab the Punisher, and even after the double kill in the middle, they're still ahead in talents. They're getting the Punisher set up, and they're in a spot to push in their opponents. The playing Ducks right now, they're hurting.
Yeah, and I still can't really believe that they didn't focus on the Shrine afterwards. They were trying to get some value on the rest of the lanes, but I'm not sure if it was really worth it. Zarmani is meeting Eternal right now, and Eternal dodging, but that top lane is going to lose another 4. This one is going to fall.
My brain's breaking, dude. Stitches has been the split pusher for this team. Stitches, the split pusher, as he constantly goes to the different lanes and he clears them out with that slam build.
Yeah, and this slam build is actually starting to really work. I mean, I feel it's a matter of we have to,
Yeah.
Because what other hero would you have taken in this situation that could really have done the same job? I guess one of the heroes that you could have gone for against another team would have been a Chen. But against this team, you can't really afford to do that. There's too many interrupts and stuns, and you can't really commit during the fight. So Stitches is much better there, doing that from a distance. But we have 3 forts eliminated against none.
And a keep wall on the top left, keep damage in the middle too at the same time. Playing Ducks, they defend the Punisher pretty well, but the Zealots continue to keep the pressure up. Spoiler comes in with the Force Wall and will show the opposing team here, but they're not going to be able to do anything without Cassia.
Yeah, that's first of all, that's important that Cassia is missing, so they can't really do too much here. But overall, we have a 1-level lead again for the Zealots. They have also Greymane fully stacked now on the Cocktail. Dash is completed as a quest talent on level 1. And one of the heroes that's, for example, hurting is especially Arthur. He has 72 stacks only on his level 4 talent.
Hook on a Thermal. Mopsiel's coming from the side. Chris will connect, and they take out a Thermal instantly here. Nande is body blocked to pieces. He's getting low. Twilight Dream, Divine Shield coming out, and the playing Ducks are hoping to fight back.
Get wrecked, son. That Sonya, no chance. But then we have Shat also low. And he's just firing away. He just doesn't care. There's the knock up. Oh my god, the hook is committed too. They go for Nande. They get the kill. There's a double camp pushing through the mid lane. If they go in the middle, they have probably a chance to take a keep at this point. They could even do it down here at the bot lane, to be honest. It's a 1-level advantage, a level 16 talents. This is going to break through the wall. And if I'm not mistaken, we should see another shrine announced extremely soon here. This is a disaster for the Ducks. 0-2 against the new team in the league.
16 here for the Zealots too. They're going to go ahead and bolster this push a little bit. Decided to pull him back, but you got to yell out. Malfurion, man. Grampy bringing out that Malfurion root, hitting 3 people, which allowed for a Nubrek to bring in a 3-person impale, which eventually led to the death there that we saw on Nande. Incredible play here by the Zealots as they continue to really steamroll, it seems like.
Shad and Grandpa. It's half of the Spanish Armada, but it seems to still be enough. They are doing solid work here, and as you said, as a support player, Grandpa is absolutely fantastic. He has done solid work here for his team, but also just Chad once again. If you compare this, how much damage he actually put in. Also, I want to give a quick shout out to Samoni here. His hooks have been on point this game. And, I mean, the Ducks, really, this is 16 versus 16. This is their moment. The Ducks can maybe make something happen right now. If they coordinate this well, if Nande goes in and gets a good lockdown that Fen can come upon, so that you drop a target, that would be it. So Sport Billy with a Force Wall is someone we have to look out for, and if Nande can prepare something for Chris to capitalize with damage. Those are the 2 heroes to really watch out for, because they need this one now.
They need it here. The Zealots playing it slow as they have the top pushing and the bottom. Zarmony is locked on the left side from the Force Wall, but Nande takes the Cursed Bullet, and Shad is just shredding through him with Odin. Grand P steps forward with a Twilight Dream, only hitting 1 member, but it may be enough to find shield use, but the friendly hook to bring Mouth back.
Helping hand by Zarmony, saying, I got you, bro. This is an Ohana moment right here. No one is left behind in this game. Gets the hook in and makes sure that he doesn't die. It's still a trade though, because Nuburak is dead. So we have the 2 tanks down, and it's still very close when it comes to the minion count. Playing Ducks are actually in the lead now when it comes to it.
That they are. The Chris Bullet hitting on Chris, and Chris going to fall there on the overkill, and the Pulverize helping with the kill. Sport Billy will be forced to retreat, and the Zealots will be able to take the Shrine, but they're looking for more kills. They're chasing that Tassadar. Hook comes out. It's going to be a root, and there's a Thurnal.
Sonya is down, and that's also going to be another Punisher. But this is exactly what we talked earlier when we were discussing the draft. Instead of the fishing hook, going for the Pulverize here, trying to dominate the Shrine and just having the hook as an extra. And it works out really well for them. That slow against Cassia was what allowed Tychus to go in and get the kill. And now we're looking at 6 kills versus 3. We're seeing them moving through the mid lane with the Punisher. They're looking fantastic here.
That they are. They're looking for the keep already. And remember, there was a Mercamp that was pushing the top earlier. They got that keep down to half health. So even if this Punisher is baited up to the top side, they can get a keep no matter what. Another hook out. Nande takes the hit here. Army of the Dead will be popped. They're just trying to live right now while the keep falls.
Yeah, Bullet has been used as well. If there's another jump on the Punisher proc, and there's a Cocoon already. Cocoon stuns, and the blow up. Tassadar is down. Divine Shield on Arthas. We have Eternal in the middle of the pack, but he gets silenced. against as Grandpa goes for his ult. If they can drop Eternal here, that would be a disaster for them. At this rate, we could see the core fall. This is the death of Uther. Nanda is low, trying to rush away. Chris also on the run, and they're just going for it.
They're going straight for the core here. Could the Zealots come in on their first debut in the HGC, get a 3-0? It's looking like it here. 50% down to 30, down to 10, and that's going to be it. GG, the Zealots earn a 3-0 over the playing Ducks.
This is crazy. I mean, congratulations, well-deserved victory, really well done here, but this is impressive as hell. A 3-0?
Yeah, I mean, a team of veterans, obviously they've had experience, they've been around for a while.
Yes.
But the playing Ducks have been in the HGC for 10 weeks.
Yeah.
They've played a number of matches, they have experience, and the Zealots just come in here and they say, hey, we're here to play.
Shad talked in the interview earlier that they are saying, hey, we want to go to the Western Clash. Dignitas and Fnatic, too far away. Number 3, we can make it. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard, but we have a shot to actually end up 3rd if we play well, if we give it all. And let's face it, this was a good start.
I mean, I'm ready for the next matches. Let's go. I want to see what they want to do against every other team in the HGC. Like, you and Caleris have always spoke about the depth in Europe, and it's a full display here. This is a team that won the Open Division, and they come in and it's like, wait a minute, they're playing what was considered a mid-tier team in Phase 1, and they take them out almost easily, it seems like.
Of course, you have to ask yourself, how much was the Ducks maybe being surprised? The Ducks maybe not quite ready with Eternal yet. Maybe they're not every time on the same page. Eternal has shown great individual skills during the entire game, but maybe the communication and the coordination isn't just there yet. Also, the switch in roles, of course, that we had on the side of the Ducks that could play a role. There's a lot of reasons, still early in the season here, but it can't feel good if you lose a match like this with an 0-3 against someone that just came from the Open.
Yeah, this isn't quite the Nande that I'm used to, the one that's very deliberate in team fights and knows what he's going to be doing every single fight. Granted, he's facing against a Cursed Bullet Gray main that's constantly burning down his Arthas. That's a very hard matchup to begin with.
That's exactly what we talked about earlier. The coordination once they call a target. Once they see a target and it's called, everyone is all in on it. And you could see that immediately. The Cursed Bullets, they just hit. The stuns come as a follow-up. And then Tychus is there, delivers the kill. So it was extremely well coordinated by Zealots.
That it was, man, and I look forward to more of the coordination. But I do have a bit of a challenge here. The Gray main was in a majority of their matches there, and granted, they pulled it off, and they did really, really well. How will they pull against the compositions that don't pull on that percentage damage? Will they have different things? I want to see more in the future, but for now, it looks like we have a chance to talk to the Zealots themselves. Hey, how's it going, man? Earning a victory.
Hello, it's going good. I was expecting 0-3, but like, it went differently.
How's it feel, man, though? Your guys' first actual game in the HGC Open Division team taking on the Playing Ducks, who would be considered a mid-tier team, and you guys walk away with a 3-0 almost easily.
Easily, I mean, I think the draft was the biggest factor to success, and I think we just got what we wanted, and we just executed it. I mean, it wasn't that hard, was it?
Okay, fair enough. The confidence, man. I can appreciate that. Caldor, any questions?
Yeah, I would basically wanted to know, now that you came from the Open Division, you played the Crucible and you qualified. Can you tell us a bit how your entire training and the way that you practice and scrim has changed since you entered the HGC? Do you focus more on it right now? Do you dedicate more time to it?
We just spend more time to play Hero League, but basically nothing changed. We put the same time effort as we did in Open Division into scrims.
Okay, then one more question. When you come into League, I mean, all of you guys are experienced. You've all been at offline events. You've all played for a long time now. Are there still nerves going into this game? I mean, when you started today, for example, were you guys still a bit nervous?
I mean, like, as I said, our scrims were not going that good. So, you know, is that saying, don't pick up a fight with a man who has nothing left to lose? So we won.
Okay.
Okay, fair enough. So you feel it's going to be a little bit harder for you next week because now you all of a sudden are a bit, I don't want to say a favorite, but you're definitely one of the teams that others are going to look for to see how far you can go.